We're here gathered to organize the second national engagement event of the Nations program. I would like to thank also Biosense Institute for partnering with us in conducting this event. This is our second time, like I mentioned. My name is Dorina, and I am incubator and project manager of ICK. Thank you for being here, and I'm glad to see a lot of people who like this topic, so land management and soil health. Today's agenda is going to be divided into some parts. First, we're going to start with a short presentation by our managing director of ICK, presenting her visit to a Green Tech Festival in Berlin, supported by USAID ADAPT project. And then we will continue with presentation from Karsten and Exona. Thanks again for joining also in this event for the second time. We will continue with you, and then we will present also two calls from for this project that are you can find it beneficial for funding. And we will have an engagement session at the end. But before starting with our presentation, I would like to invite Mrs. Fluter Mustafa from Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, maybe just to share some things what is Ministry doing and how we can find synergies. Thank you.
Thank you, Dorina. Faleminderit. Përshëndetje për gjithë pranishmet, gjithë ata që po na ndjekin online. Unë nuk jam shumë fan se fjalimeve gjata, thjesht deshta me prezantu vizionin e Ministrisë Bujqësisë, Pulltarisë dhe Zhvillimit Rural dhe mandatit e saj që ka për tokat, menaxhimin edhe shëndetin e tokës apo dheut. Ne për këto 3 vite kemi avancu legjislacionin pikërisht sa i përket ligjit për toka, ligjin për tokën bujqësore, ligjin për pyje që është realizuar për herë të parë pas një stagnimi edhe 10 vjeçar, dhe kemi arrit domethënë me kriju një bazë shumë të shëndetshme që i përshtatet edhe avancimit të politikave tjera zhvillimore. Vazhdimisht kryejmë domethënë kemi takime me donatorë të cilët po negocojmë që të kemi një rajonalizim edhe një laborat të tokave në mënyrë që secili rajon të specifikohet apo të specializohet në atë se çka e rrit më së miri apo në çka e prodhon më së miri. Kjo është domethënë janë hapat kryesor drejt krijimit të një bujqësie të qëndrueshme. Njëjtë për shëndetin e tokave, ne kemi shumë toka që janë të papunume, fatmirësisht në aspektin e asaj që mundemi me investu bujqësinë organike, pasi që nuk janë të trajtuara as me kurfar përlehra apo me kurfar pesticide, dhe e shohim si potencial në zhvillim. Kemi strategjinë për bujqësi, të cilën e kemi domethënë të aprovuar në qeveri, planin e veprimit i cili përcakton aktivitetet, strategjinë për pulltari e cila përfshin edhe tokat pyjore, dhe jemi në rrugën e duhur drejt kur flasim për bujqet, fermerët janë rreth 30.000 të tillë që ushtrojnë aktivitete bujqësore e që dita ditës e rritin në sipërfaqet e punuara fal politikave tona. Kemi toka 39% apo rreth 40% të territorit është tokë cilësore bujqësore, dohet në 3 klasa, zakonisht në klasë parë, dytë dhe tretë, ku edhe jepen edhe për shfrytëzim edhe jepen për aktivitete bujqësore. Fokusin më të madhe kemi tek perimet, tek drithrat, dhe mundohemi që përmes politikave tona t'i fuqizojmë çdo ditë bujqet, që ata mos të ndihen të anashkaluar në një anë edhe në anën tjetër të ndihen të dinjitetshëm ndaj punës që bëjnë. Nëse një bujk në të kaluarën ka ushqy 10 veta, sot është nevoja që një bujk të ushqej 100, sepse kërkesa është e madhe. Andaj edhe krahas politikave tona edhe rritjes së përkrahjes së vazhdueshme përmes subvencioneve dhe granteve, vazhdojmë domethënë t'i kontribuojmë një mirëqenjeje edhe një hapi që ata me qenë bujqet jo vetëm në rajon, po edhe në Evropë ndër top bujqet më të përkrahur. Në Bashkimin Evropian ka një ramje prej rreth 5 deri në 6% të aktiviteteve bujqësore, ndërsa në Kosovë jemi histori suksesi për me qenë kështu jo modeste në punën që kemi realizuar me ministrin Vaton Peci, sepse të ne ka shtim të bujqve fal aty në hapave që i kemi ndërmarr, fal lehtësimit në aplikime, fal legjislacionit edhe fal punës që atyre ja u lehtëson, domethënë aktivitetin e përditshëm. Nuk du mi marrë më shumë kohë, kisha dashur me dëgju më shumë prej tjerëve. Faleminderit shumë.
Okay. Now on with the presentation.
Thank you, Flutur. Thank you, everyone, for joining this event. Maybe the topic that I will be presenting here is not directly related to the soil, but somehow, to some extent, is everything related because we are all in a mission to transform our economy to the greener one. So every step on the way is interesting, and we kind of should share our synergies. So as Dorina already presented me, I am Etihe Kasrati. I am the Managing Director of ICK. And it's my pleasure to welcome you all here, those who are present and those who are joining online. Last month, from the support of USAID Adapt activity, I have been able to attend a Green Tech Festival in Berlin, which is a very diverse in terms of structure, in terms of participants, and in terms of the mission it shares. So Green Tech Festival, for those who haven't heard before, is in a mission to provide or to link, as the name suggests, green technology, to link technology with a green and sustainability living through innovation and collaboration. It is an annual event, a global platform that brings together investors, startups, entrepreneurs, policymakers, and the industry leaders. So by stating that it's global, this year was on Berlin, and probably the next year is in London, yes. So what are the key features of the Green Tech Festival? Before telling you that, the pictures are all real. So this is from our experience that we had on the Green Tech Festival. So this is a personal touch on it. So that's why I wanted to share everything around the festival. So the key features on the Green Tech Festival was the exhibitions showcasing the cutting-edge green technologies, inspirational keynote speeches, and group discussions, like in many other festivals as well, and networking opportunities with global leaders in sustainability. It was also an award recognition for outstanding contributors to the green technology. On the Green Tech Festival, based on my personal observations and also the materials that I have read before and after the event, there are many trends in terms of the technology advancements and cross-cutting sectors on green, but I have chosen here to mention some of them, which are maybe more room to also we as Kosovo and as a region that we should think of on this advancement. So the smart city and mobility was one of the key trends that was discussed around the Green Tech Festival. All the startups, entrepreneurs, innovators, and also policymakers were kind of discussing around how to make this smart cities and mobility infrastructure more green, user-friendly, if I can say so. Another very buzz and also trending topic is, as always, AI. Also AI green transition. Many solutions that were presented, group discussions, were around AI-based solutions that were mainly designed to enhance the greener transformation and also monitor environmental sustainability and data, and also other predictive maintenance applications. Energy was another important topic, and circular economy as well, and sustainability on lifestyle and food, which is very new topic, especially here in Kosovo and in the region. So what were the innovative solutions that kept my mind during the Green Tech Festival? Of course, startups, because I have presented there a startup ecosystem. So, and my focus was around seeing what other startups, what other organizations are doing, so I can get inspired and come here and also share this experience, share with this knowledge with others, so we can all together build a more sustained startup ecosystem. And luckily enough, in the Green Tech Festival, it was the first time that Green Tech Festival has included the startup land, which was showcasing the startup ideas. And this is also a quite good, if I can say, a fact that tells us the importance of startups, because they are more prone to change, they are more adaptive if you compare with a corporation, and the synergy, the innovation that the startup can bring is hardly to find in SMEs, or say it alone on the corporate sector. There were 15 startups presented. It was very hard for me to decide which one to feature here and to present it to you. I may, when you have time, of course, you may check the website and see all the ideas that were presented, which were very inspirational, and maybe you can find a ways to collaborate with them, or maybe just see how you can involve those technologies in your solution. So Dimitra was one of these startups. I had to choose between sectors, so everyone can kind of feel and find their experience in some of the startups that I have been featuring here. So Dimitra was a agri-tech solution, a solution that uses IoT, artificial intelligence, to withdraw data, to analyze, and then to give the information to the farmers so they can predict risks, mitigate them, and reduce expenses, and also increase the yields. Hydrop system was a startup that was more producing a tool which utilizes artificial intelligence to differentiate between various types of water usage. They also were in a mission to prevent using AI, using data, of course, to prevent the water leakage, and also to analyze our personal habits in ways how we use water, which will indirectly change our behaviors, because if we know how we use, we can kind of make the strategies of using that more effectively. So this was probably the intention of the startup and the solution they have been providing. New is another startup. It's mostly managing the whole life cycle of e-waste operation system, which integrates electronics from civil society to the recycle chain. It was very innovative to see how they harness material to electronic waste and minimize environmental damage, because you all know how harmed they are for the society and for the environment. And one of maybe the favorites, because of the sensitivity they try to include in the application, is the LabFly startup. They utilize drones to deliver the medical supplies to elderly people who live on the rural areas of the Europe, which from the stats that they have been presenting, there are around 26 million elderly people who live in the rural areas of Europe. So they operate with drones that are that do not emit CO2, and they do not cause any potential environmental damage. So the drones can deliver up to 1 kilogram of payload over a distance of 30 kilometers without charging. So these were some of the startups that I have featured, but as I said before, there are plenty more very interesting that I would suggest you to check. And of course, festivals are always great opportunities for network and partnership. And this is maybe one of the reasons they coexist or exist, because besides the information that we can get, getting in touch with people, and focusing yourself for 2 or 3 days within a specific environment is very beneficial in terms of partnerships, finding your niche partner, networking, and so on. So as I have stated before, I was presenting the startup ecosystem, and I look for similar organizations that are in a green space, in a sustainability area, that can help us enhance and elevate the services that we provide to the community to the larger scale. So GICA, Global Impact Capital Alliance, was one of the potential NGOs that I have been in touch with. And basically, because of the reason that they provide a similar service as we, ICK, do. So our intention was to join forces to boost impact startups and find the ways to help each other as organizations to have an impact. Climate Tech Hub, as the name suggests, is a hub similar like ICK. And we have been in touch with them and look for ways. So we are still on the discussion phase to see how we can cooperate with them. Also on sectors such as renewable energy solution, leveraging technology and startup ecosystem to come up with new ideas and new approaches to tackle this sector. Plano was a startup that we also met there. They were very interesting. Why I included Plano here and not in the startup presentation slide before is that because they were very interesting on not just selling their products, but finding partnerships and collaborator in Kosovo. So when they heard we represent the startup ecosystem, they were very keen to see how they can find partners, make collaborations here, or come and visit us as well. So maybe in one of the activities that we are going to plan for the future, which is a similar one like this festival, not maybe in this large scale, but also still it will be a pioneering event on Kosovo. We will try to kind of engage this kind of international partnerships and see how we can build bridges and synergies between startups in Kosovo and the startup in Europe as well. And the fun part, besides business, beyond business, those events are great for inspiration, learning, and enjoyment. We had so much fun with the group. And sometimes we go internationally to find international partners, but we end up finding partners from the group we have been together. So, and this was also the case here. I think we have established a great synergies between the group that were from Kosovo. So we had the chance to inspire each other, share ideas, think more creatively, and kind of build that bond in terms of what and how we can cooperate in the future as well. And last but not least, for this incredible opportunity, I would thank the donor, the USAID ADAPT activity, with whom we are looking to not just finish our engagement in the activities like this, but use this as a starting point to make or to develop very impactful projects in the future. Without further ado, I know the main stars of the event are Exona and Karsten. So thank you very much for your attention. And thank you, Exona. Thank you, Karsten. And please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Since we have been represented, but now we have new faces until we fix the administrative part, it would be nice for us to know each other. So please just
short introduction, your name, where are you coming from, and maybe what you're representing, institution, NGO, company, or anything. Shall I start from here? Thank you.
I'm Dars, I'm an electrical engineer, and we're coming as colleagues to see the new features in this program.
Yeah, hi, my name is Lorik. So we are coming, both three of us are coming from a company called IRN. It's from Instituto Resurse Naturore, basically. And we are also involved in this topic. We are a recipient of the Horizon 20 grant, so we're a beneficiary. And we are involved in a project called Islander or Islander, which is information-based land remediation. So for us, this is a very interesting topic, and we would like to see if there are any collaboration we can do together.
Hi, I'm Berat. I'm from the same company. I'm here with my colleagues. I have an MBA, and I'm just curious to learn to see what you're doing and what can be done in the future. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Amir Kuleta. I'm an architect. Actually, I'm pursuing a Lead Green Associate credential, and that's the reason I choose to attend this event. So, hello.
Hello, I am Emine. I'm coming from the company NATI00NS Kosovo, focused on organic production, producing essential oils, producing the different products.
My name is Karsten Klapp, and we run a small startup with the idea of how can we transform all kinds of organic waste and side streams into protein and fertilizer using insects.
My name is Mohamed Zogay. I'm coming from Agriculture Faculty and Veterinary University of Prishtina. I'm soil scientist. So this event is very close to my field. So also we work together with Karsten, and maybe Karsten can explain more later. Thank you.
Thank you. I am a colleague of Mohamed. My name is Arben. I'm coming from the Faculty of Agriculture and Veterinary, University of Prishtina. Actually, I'm coming from the Plant Protection Department. We are engaged in some projects related to the use of pesticide, as well as soil pollution, but also to the sustainable agriculture. In meantime, also we do some research with cooperation with different universities, but also and with GoBeyond.
Hello, my name is Blert. I represent the environmental consulting team. I'm an environmental engineer with profession, and we mostly deal with environmental impact assessment reports and environmental due diligences. So this is a quite interesting topic for us.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Les Belego. I am a recent graduate from the University of Business and Technology in the Department of Agriculture and Environmental Engineering. Since I am an environmental enthusiast, I thought that taking part in this event would help me gain more insights. And another fun fact is that today I have an exam for soil sciences. So besides studying, I thought that I would gain more insights for the exam. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Blerinda. I'm today here representing USA Kosovo Adapt activity. The project focuses on climate change adaptation and mitigation in Kosovo. Thank you all.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Linda Azio. Also, I'm coming from USA Kosovo Compete activity together with Blerinda as well. Thank you.
Unfortunately, we don't have any kind of choices for the online people, but hopefully the next time maybe they can join us, hopefully physical attendance. Together with Karsten, we have done a first information, I would say. It was more of the launching of the call, information sharing. And today it is more of the engagements Okay. No. We will try to be as simple as possible and as more on the concept of discussions, because, you know, every one of you have had the chance to apply for the call, and we know the procedure mostly how it goes. Today, we will explain a bit the process about the nations. We will be more on the engagement about what the mission. Okay. It doesn't work on the TV, sorry. I forgot that. So you can see, I was trying to. We will explain the mission, a little bit about the laws and the new improvement in EU legislation, about what are actually the living labs and lighthouses. You have heard during the call, and there are some differences on those targets establishments. We will discuss what is the thematic focus of 2024 of the Living Labs call, and then we will have an engagement session where some questions will be provided to you. We will discuss about those questions and then move on. In the meantime, we will have a coffee break before the questions that will be shared with you. But please feel free to ask any questions that you might need further assistance, or it is not clear for you, the information or everything. We gave it a try with Carlson for maybe months ago for the first call and for this one. So we kind of are familiar with this. We are understanding that Kosovo has some maybe small capacities for this call in the nation region, because there are still Horizon applications opening up in Kosovo, but we would encourage and we would like to see someone from Kosovo at least attending or being as a co-applicant, or getting some more experience on the call, since there are few chances for Kosovo to be part of the Horizon in general. This is the information that for the participants to be shared with you, that there are, since the nation is a consortium of many organizations, so the list of participants will be shared among internally, and for the further networking with relevant stakeholders or cooperators, I would call. There are pictures taken, and they will be shared in promoting way if you have any concerns about that. So you can send an email, and the pictures of you will be removed, or you can directly contact with ICK Dorina for easy, I think, removement. And then, yes, you have the right to withdraw the consent. And for the people that are attending online, the whole call, the meeting will be recorded and used for internal purposes. Today, as I mentioned before, we will discuss more on exploring the pathway of how to write a competitive proposal. I would say first we will see how the soil health challenges, I would say, are linked with the mission and the objectives. We will start to discuss more on the initiating or joining a living lab. Firstly, of course, we need to understand what actually are the living labs, how they function, and how they are existing in many countries around Europe, especially in member states. And we will open the options how to join a consortium that is existing, or you want to establish one, and some tips and tricks how to submit an application. And then hopefully the living lab will become at real time or at real life. We have had a bit of explanation from the ministry representative, and we discussed about shortly for soil. But I would like just to break the ice, maybe someone to explain shortly what do you think when we say healthy soil? What is your first impression? In Albanian, we say toke shnetshme, toke shëndosh, në sense, but what is your first opinion when we say healthy soil? We have also a diverse audience, so I would like to have an impression from a professor. What does it mean? Sorry. Yes, but what do you mean? What do you think the first? I mean, there are differences for me, for an environmentalist, I would say different approaches for how we understand the healthy soil, but feel free to just let us know what actually you think that might be a happy soil, healthy soil, sorry, sorry, and a happy one. Exactly, yeah. Any volunteers? Thank you.
You know, to be honest, for the point of farmers, Tokaj shëndetshme is not used, you know.
Okay.
Usually they use Tokaj mirë. You know, this means good.
Okay.
So they don't go so deeply to understand what means health, but when they say mirë, this means that the yield will be higher. The soil is quite rich with micro and macro elements. So usually they use Tokaj mirë. But in healthy aspects, we should introduce this in Albanian because it's quite difficult to be accepted as Tokaj shnetshme because they don't consider the soil as human. Njeriu shëndetshëm, comparing to the Tokaj mirë. So it's quite interesting topic, but it's just my opinion. So.
Yes, yes, of course. I mean, this is very interesting because farmers consider if it is healthy soil, if the production is good. So that's very interesting approach, I would say, because there are misunderstanding of healthy soil, and of course, to be measured by how much it produces is very interesting from the concept of farmers. But from the concept or from the idea of people, it means differently. Do you have any opinion this?
So a happy soil may differ from any kind of point of view that you see. For example, for a farmer, as the professor mentioned, it has another meaning. For an architect or a civil engineering, it could be considered as the base floor of the building house or something. For an environmental scientist would be soil that would have no pollutants or such things, no usage of pesticides, herbicides, and so on. So mostly it differs because it differs for the purpose of using.
Exactly.
So mostly, but in general, it would be a soil that has macro and micronutrients, a soil that doesn't need a lot of pesticides, and a soil that doesn't have a lot of pollutants.
Okay, interesting. Anyone else? From your perspective of the ground, what does healthy soil means?
Okay. I can add some things.
Sure.
In biological aspect, if they leave the biota, just to include all the biota inside, if they have a biota inside, so this side it's healthy.
Okay. Yes, yes, that's another aspect. Depending what and how the land is used, it can be categorized as healthy or not, basically. Usually, the definition of healthy soil includes its ability to purify the water, its ability also for the land or for the options to extract the carbon, because land is also used as carbon storage. And also it has the ability to be enough with the nutrients on side of it. There are, as you could see, there are different aspects and different meaning depending how the land is used and where it's used, and depending the benefits that we want from it. So healthy soil is a combination of many SDGs in general, that they are as the goals for sustainable development, that they are established ages ago, I would say. But unfortunately, in Kosovo, what we are facing so now and in the region, I would say there is no much attention to kind of having the healthy soil in our lands. Firstly, as per my understanding, we have limited analysis in the national states. There is no measuring of the soil, I would say categorizing of the soil that it should be done. Maybe this is one of the reasons where we should start with existing labs, what we cannot provide the data. For example, one of the cases that today it can be from the mission supported is also data-driven information for the soil. We are aware that it wasn't given any much of the attention also to the soil in the European Union due to many challenges before that they have been faced, and due to the lack of importance and the lack of information how to actually view the soil. Because the soil mostly is, the first answer was the right answer, because it's basically seeing the soil as what it gives to us as a beneficiary land, or what we can have from the soil. Not to forget that, yes, human activities are the ones that are degrading the soil, and this includes also our direct usage of the soil and also the climate change impacts. Of course, lack of understanding and education is also on the member states, and in the Western Balkans especially. One of the reasons why the soil hasn't have any importance to be taken on, or to be driven on, or to be more analyzed and more specialized in the meaning of data collection or monitoring or evaluating, or in general understanding the soil. About 2 out of 3 of European, I would say, soils, including also Kosovo, it's on the 3 categories, how to say, drop down: agricultural, natural, and rural. We will go then further on those details. Soil, it gives us also ecosystem services. I mentioned one of them, that is water purification, but the soil is also very important for agriculture products and for several issues. One of the benefits is that we are standing in the soil, and buildings and everyday life is happening around. Of course, with the importance of the soil, it's happening around it. It just needs to be more explored and more evaluated and more, I would say, appreciated than it is. There has been proposed EU soil monitoring law that has 3 of the main objectives. Now it has been under the amendment. I mean, it has been adopted, but then the amendments are planning to be happening, but due to European elections ongoing now, there are still, the process is under the, I would say, not finalized yet, but what the law actually has proposed are 3 of the main objectives: monitoring and assessment of the soil health. As I mentioned before, the soil should be monitored, and monitoring is also used for data-driven, for data providing information. This is also for the mostly for the EU member states, but also Kosovo is as associated country, so it includes wherever is a member state. It also includes the associated country, but by the law, only member states are obligated. We are kind of recommended to have, whenever there is a law, the member states basically, that are obligated to follow the law, and then Kosovo has been recommended to apply those until we are reaching the member state, hopefully, let's say, I don't know how to, integration or the name. Then another proposed objective that the soil law, monitoring law has been given is also to identify potentially contaminated sites. Those are alerted sites where the soil has been or it is contaminated and not used. Maybe it might be a toxic, or it might have any kind of chemicals inside, or any it has been misused, or there are a lot of lands. And in Kosovo we have identified, there are identified around 13 risk lands that I would say, and those lands are supported to be investigated and to be addressed, the risks of those lands that are affected to the human life. And then one of the third objective is also the sustainable soil management. Now we know that sustainable management is a new wording, and it's a new, I would say, process that member states are going through. And one of the points on the law, of course, it should be also sustainable management, that member states have to define practices and what can be cause soil degradation. They need to be more precise on that based on the law. Anyway, so that was an update of from the first time that we have been here until now. Hopefully the law will be in place soon, and we can be also more oriented and more informed about the objectives and the implementation and the process. The mission of the soil, I would say, it's to establish 100 living labs. Living labs will be explained better by Karsten, but there are just shortly to be defined maybe as places for on-the-ground experiments. And mostly the on-the-ground word, it goes on the level of soil directly, because soil is in the ground. But in this context, it means that living labs should be practical and mostly solutions on the ground, on the practice, and on the states. Also, there will be lighthouses. This is on the presentation, is represented as LL and LH, just to identify which one is which. And those are the sites for showcasing the best or the good practices from different countries to be adaptable to Kosovo or vice versa. So the reason and the mission is that soil should be and must be transitioned to healthy in both rural and urban areas. The EU has 5 missions, and one of the 5 missions, it's a soil deal for Europe. It's the mission for climate change adaptation, for cancer, for marine waters, of course, the soil deal, and smart cities. One of them is the soil deal for Europe, where 100 labs, living labs, are meant to be established by 2030. Yeah, it's in line with the EU Green Deal and by climate change and environmental degradation. Living labs and lighthouses across all land uses. It depends if the call will be for agricultural, forestry, natural, industrial, or urban sites. But this is the aim of 100 living labs up to 2030. And especially it will be more attention given to unrecognized assets and public goods, as mentioned. And also they should be, all ideas should be in line with transition of the soil to healthy soil. it is the top ideas are to be as a bottom-up approach based on open science, interactive, innovation, strong stakeholders, and of course, one of the most important point is also the citizen engagement or community engagement. It depends on the communities that we are willing to target, if it is a community, rural area or urban, or community of farmers, community of industrial people, or businesses, etc. Of course, there is the co-implementation, because we are talking for huge ideas, huge projects. And it should include researchers, it should include land managers. We kind of consider land manager the person that is managing the public land for 99 years, that is kind of renting the land in this case, or private owners. It should also include regions, businesses, policymakers, citizens, and international partners. Those are the ideas of the Living Labs. To accelerate and then to co-create and uptake the solution. Now you will hear a lot recently the words of co-designing, co-creation. It is a bit trendy, but of course they have the main reason, because a lot of countries in soil, they do not have expertise and experiences. And due to lack of experiences, it's better to start creating your call at the early stages together. And that is meant by the co-creation, by experiences, sharing knowledge, and good or great case scenarios. We have a late upcomer. Would you mind until, yeah. But we want to know, who are you?
So for you who don't know me, I'm Bayram, and I'm co-founder of a company. We're building a digital solution for industrial purposes. Also, previously we developed products for home and building automation. So company is called Enchale, and yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. I needed a break, so okay. I would just shortly, what I've said before, shortly, this is how it might look like an application process, or what's the mission is oriented in building the blocks. Knowledge, data, and technology and infrastructure. If we have, it was mentioned from a representative from the ministry about the new law, and knowledge and the expertise from the professors, and existing data and the technologies and the practices that they can be shared or support to the businesses. Living labs and lighthouses are another innovation that can be very much useful for testing, co-creation, analyzing, and demonstration of solutions. Monitoring and reporting, those are the two aspects of the soil that unfortunately there is everywhere lacking on those two, filling the data, and communication, training, and building capacities for different target group that are aimed also to be established soil advisors during this longevity of the mission. Main objectives of the mission are to reduce desertification, to conserve and increase soil organic carbon stocks. I mentioned before that soil is also very much on providing us services such as carbon storage. Stop soil sealing and increase reuse of urban soils, reduce soil pollution and enhance restoration, prevent erosion, improve soil structure to enhance soil biodiversity, reduce the EU goal footprint on soils, and improve soil literacy in society. If you see Kosovo around this, we can fit in any one of this. Basically, we have the desertification, we do not have the conserving organic carbon stock conservation or increasing the abilities. Sealing increase the reuse of urban soils, but we still don't know the data of soil pollution. If we knew, then we could also reduce the soil pollution. We could prevent the erosion. I am not sure about the latest data, but I know that only 5% of the soil in Kosovo, it's considered out of the possibilities for the erosion. The less than 40% is considered nearby, and then the rest is highly potentially erosive. This is a report from the Kosovo Environmental Protection Agency. It's not from the Ministry of, let's say, Agriculture. It's from the different approach. And we would also need some new technologies and new advancement on soil structure and how to enhance soil biodiversity. One of the main important, I would say, ingredient of the soil is also its biodiversity and the role that biodiversity plays in having a healthy soil, but also maintaining the services that the soil provides for us, and global footprints on the soil. This is also a huge objective for Kosovo as well, soil literacy in society. And this, how the mission has the idea in the core elements, it would be oriented in research and innovation program. That is the reason what living labs and lighthouses can provide. All of the three core elements together: research, monitoring, and communicating and engagement. Several activities or several points, as you can see, are in between the lines, how the research and innovating program can be in a living lab. This is by scientific knowledge or frameworks or methods to be included in your application. Also from innovation, from real life settings, research questions, and et cetera, et cetera. I can mention all of these, but you will have them on the presentation that will be shared. But one of the main topics for today will be urban land. So we will need also a bit of citizen ideas, citizens understanding, society interactions, and monitoring. For monitoring, there are indicators, data, and thresholds that can be also much more used while we are planning to apply for a living lab or for lighthouses. It's your turn now. We shared just in order for you not to get bored. So you will see now an amazing entrepreneur in Kosovo. I found the name entrepreneur.
Is that?
Yes. Oh, sorry, you don't need this.
Amazing, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So then after explaining about the living labs and lighthouses, we will have a break, right? And then the discussions.
Yes, yes, yes.
Sorry.
Oh, wait.
You need
So,
this.
yes, yes. Actually, there is. But first of all, good morning, everyone. And talking about soil is really something exciting. Who of you had your hands in soil during the last month? 1, 2, 3. Really nice. This is great. So, you know, I brought some soil. It's from our balcony compost. Yeah, I mean, there might be some earthworms, I don't know. So who cannot resist to put her or his hands in soil, just feel free. It feels really good. It also, normally it smells good, but I put it in a plastic container. And my wife told me this morning, put it in a metal container. I should have done this. So what do we learn from that? Always. So feel free to put your hands inside. It does feel good. I put it here, you see it all the time. You know, when I was invited to take part in this activity, I said yes. Why? Because I just love soil. But why? Because I love eating. Who of you shares this love of eating with me? Okay, so I think we all agree on that, right? Mir. You know, I have been living in Kosovo for 5 years now, and one of the only words I can speak is mir, but with a good pronunciation, I was told. So maybe you know that globally, around 30% of soil is already degraded, is dead. The projection is that in 2030, it's 40%. And if things go the same way as they go now, in 2050, I mean, there's many things that can happen, but just, you know, as a projection, it will be 60 to 70%. And, you know, if 60 to 70% of our skin is dead, we have no chance to survive. And the soil is the skin of the world, of the earth. It's like it's an organ. So, and I mean, here I just brought you some skin. This is not soil ground. This is just the skin. It's not an ecosystem. Yeah, so the soil is an ecosystem. And only if it functions in the sense of an ecosystem, it can serve the way it is needed to provide food for us. So now we live in Kosovo, and where do we get our food mostly from? I know we were fresh, indirect, so, but where do they get it from? It's imported. So we have an issue to think about. And this is why it feels really exciting also meeting all of you here today to talk about soil. I mean, the whole world talks about climate. Yeah, we are very aware of it, but talking about soil has the same urgency. And this is why this project here, this opportunity, I feel it's also something very special and a good opportunity for Kosovo. And in the Western Balkans, there is no of these projects yet. We will see later on the map. And here in Kosovo, together with Albania, maybe Montenegro, Macedonia, there's really great opportunities. And the conditions here in Kosovo to do this, because of the small lands we have, we can do experiments. Yeah, so this is something really, I'm happy also that friends of university are here, from the ministry are here, and maybe this project could be something to initiate from Kosovo for the region. It's a huge opportunity. All right. I also, can you hear me well? Because I have a double sound. Is it better here? Then I will take maybe the, is it okay? Okay. I brought a small book. This is called The Soil Owner's Manual. Yeah, and reading this book, it kind of opened my eyes. And there are some podcasts also of this guy, Jon Stika. And listening to what he has to say makes me believe that maybe for decades we have done agriculture in a way which we should not have done. Yeah, and just to, he says, keys to restoring soil health. And actually, this is what we are talking about here. Yeah, everything is about soil health. He says, less soil disturbance. How do we disturb soil? What do we do on the fields? Plowing. More plant diversity. Living roots as much as possible. By plowing the ground, we kill everything. Yeah. And keep the soil covered over all times. What do? With plowing the ground, we open the soil, we open the skin, it dries, and the winds, you know, the erosion, and so on. That means when we talk about living labs and we talk about soil health, the first thing we talk about is mindset. And you mentioned it, Ixona, also, soil literacy in society plays a huge role, yeah, to become aware of what soil really is. So now you see, I'm really getting excited, and get your hand in there. Yeah, soil is something really special as an ecosystem. And I didn't know before I read this that soil has 3 functions. One is chemical, one is biological, and one is mechanical. Basically, what we do in contemporary agriculture is we use the mechanical function of the soil to hold the plants, right? But the chemical function is to be a container for nutrients and to ensure also with all the fungi which are all under the ground as a system, as a whole ecosystem, that exactly that the nutrients get to the right plant. And the biologic function is to create these nutrients also from the degrading elements that come from the top. Yeah, and we have destroyed that. Yeah, so it's quite something when talking about the living labs and the lighthouses as a call. We talk about mindset, and another aspect that comes with it, and then I continue with the slides, is it's all about collaboration. It's about multi-stakeholder collaboration. It's about discussing, experimenting, design thinking aspects, checking how we can do it better. And it's about sharing knowledge for increasing speed of learning and increasing speed of creating impact. Because we have urgency. You know, in 2050, I guess I'll still be alive. I want to have food from the ground. And I guess all of us are here on the same page. Yeah. Okay, let's get it started. What is a living lab? Now we have a text here. I will briefly read it. It's a collaborative initiative to co-create knowledge and innovations. I think co-create, I mean, we heard it before. That is a big word, but it doesn't work differently. We need to do it together to create knowledge and to do innovations. So it says, user-centered, place-based, transdisciplinary research and innovation ecosystems, which involve land managers, scientists, and other relevant partners in systemic research and co-design, testing, monitoring, and evaluation of solutions in real-life settings to improve the effectiveness of soil health and accelerate adaptation. It reads like a law, but there's so much in that. So if you are interested in this concept, take this sentence and chew it a bit, because everything is in there. Yeah, user-centered. Who are the users? It's the farmers. We have to talk to the farmers. How can we support them? How can we heal soil by increasing yields? How can we do that? And it's possible. Yeah, multi-stakeholder. Who needs to be involved? You know, when we start thinking about it, suddenly we have a huge variety of stakeholders. You know, also when we had our event for using insect frass in the field, so many stakeholders were there because they're all affected. Yeah, and use in real life settings. What could be a field here in Kosovo? Maybe we just not use that. Can we do experiments? And contain several sites at a regional and sub-regional level to learn from each other. So this aspect of learning from each other, of sharing knowledge, plays a big role here. Now comes the lighthouses. You know, lighthouse is seen from everyone at any place around it. And this is what it is meant to be. This is a place of excellent performance in that case, where we can go and learn, where we can go and get trained, yeah, where it is showcased how we could do it. Yeah, so that means every living lab has these 2 aspects. The living lab itself with lighthouses. And we will come in future to talk about that. So now there are a few criteria that these living labs have to fulfill when we apply. It's the aims. Again, innovation, co-creation. It's about people. It's about collaboration. It's about mindset. Yeah, societal challenges. I mean, we want to eat. Yeah, what effects does it have what we do on society? Improving soil health and related ecosystem services. And it is really worth to start, if you haven't done already, to think of soil as an ecosystem and how does soil work. An interesting part here is one of these and other people who work in this field of also called regenerative agriculture is farmers must be highly educated and trained. I mean, the most important actor, most probably in an economy, is the farmer. You know, Viva Fresh needs to get the stuff from somewhere, which we have on our table. And to ensure that we have healthy soil, farmers need to be highly trained, highly educated, and they need to collaborate. And these are mindsets where we have quite some potential to think about here. Activities. I mean, they put it double to make sure we all see it enough, often enough. Co-creation, co-development, experimentation, research on impact, networking, knowledge exchange. I think the concept, the mindset is clear that comes from this living lab concept. Participants, it's really get the people together who are involved. It's not nothing I can do or you can do or you can do alone, but together we can do it. Yeah. And last but not least, it's the concept, it's the context, having multiple disciplines involved, and it is place-based. We have a place where we meet on the field, in the forest, on the grassland, you know, and we touch the soil, we evaluate the soil, we discuss how can we make it better. It's a place. In a real life context, and we need robust scientific setup, yeah, for ecosystem assessment and so on. And then the lighthouse as a kind of learning site to identify a place where we can learn from, where we can see, where we can get trained. Or even to say, we want to develop also a lighthouse here in Kosovo. And one of the projects we have later has that same condition. They have some experimental sites and they develop a lighthouse, so they will have one for the future. And when starting to think in this concept, of course, there are challenges on the way. Just to name a few, complex challenges cannot be solved by single stakeholders. Lack of trust between stakeholders, yeah, different approach, solution-driven, problem-driven, different goals, and so on. And this is something that needs to be addressed when getting together, you know, to really take time to come as much as possible on the common page to get started, and to be open to each other, to trust each other, and to share. Now, what can I expect from a living lab? You know, cooperating in a multi-stakeholder team, it's really inspirational to work together with people, to share, to be creative together. You know, collective creativity is one of the most exciting things when it happens. You know, learn to think out of the box, better understand each other, accept different perspectives from different stakeholders, aim for the same goal. You know, there's so much we can learn on a personal level, on a mindset level, and by doing so, we can gain so much in terms of impact, but also for our personal advancement, also for our businesses. This is also an aspect of this concept. Now, what are the different components? There's the living lab, summarizing, it is carried out in a real life setting. I have a farm, I have a problem here, there is one field, who is interested, let's do something. Very practical, not theoretical, not much talking, it's doing, it's acting, you know. Second thing is co-creation with a large set of stakeholders. You know, to invite people for a coffee, you know, and to hear perspectives, yeah, and it becomes more and more exciting thinking about it, you know. I mean, for me, I cannot, you know, and involving the end users. Did you know that probably around 95% of products developed failed? Yeah, and it's in most cases, we don't ask the end user, would you really buy that thing I'm so excited about? I said, no, why should I? So don't develop it. Yeah, so also here we need to involve the farmers, the landowners, the land managers, whoever is involved with land, because they are the ones at the end to do it and also to take benefit out of it. So now, there's three aspects in this setting, yeah, and we need to develop these places of co-creation, of collaboration, of shared mindset, of a shared understanding, a shared vision. We have to develop this participatory, interdisciplinary approach. And here it comes. Whatever we do is not just only, I mean, just is here maybe a bit to make it small, but it's not only to think about the soil, it's also to think, how does the business model of the farmer look like in future? And it will change so much. Yeah, the machinery will change. Yeah, the ways how to do agriculture will change. Maybe the products will change. So without thinking in a business model term, and here ICK can also play a role to help developing the business concepts behind that. Now, this is the main picture for what is a living lab and a lighthouse. You see on the left side, this green circle is a living lab area. It could be sub-regional, regional, or even cross-national. You have in the middle multiple stakeholders, and we identified already some here, so you know how to collaborate in future. And we have the experimental sites and the lighthouses. A lighthouse can be within the living lab, it can be also outside, wherever there is one. It's good to know that there is one to learn from. Yeah, this is the setup of the living labs. And here we can see the living lab overall, it's on a regional or sub-regional landscape. Then the experimentation sites, this is very local. Yeah, farmland in Bushtree, one in Jakova, one in Viti, yeah, wherever. We have the sites where we do our experiments. And then inside or outside, we have these lighthouses to go, to learn, to share, and to create knowledge in a collaborative mode. Summarizing this, it can be on a regional level, it can be on a sub-regional level. And important is all the experimentation sites, and this is core also to this call, they have a common purpose. So they all agree about common soil health goals, because only if they are common, they can learn from each other. If everyone does something else, they cannot learn from each other. And here it says it can be in a small region, maybe just in Dugajini area because they have similar conditions. It can be all over Kosovo, or it can be also some of our countries together doing this, depending on the same goal. And this displays it again. Yeah, we can have it here in Bavaria. This green means it has the same challenge of soil, and they put the whole thing here, and they can learn from each other. The same thing is on a cross-regional level. Whole of Germany, in that case, they have the same soil challenge they want to address. So they build a living lab all over Germany. It's also possible. And then they say, no, we have here a region, including Austria and Czech Republic. We share the same problem here. It would be good to learn from each other. It can also be like this. However, the larger it gets, the more complex its coordination and project development is getting. So it must be very well weighed. How big should it get in terms of coverage of area? If there are any questions, please, yeah, you can. Now, when it comes to applying for a project, it is suggested that a project application will have even 4 or 5 different living labs together, all having the same goal. And you might think, ooh, this is complex. It's true. But everything starts with the first step. And I might just think of one living lab, and there is also a platform available where we can search for partners, to create a complete environment. So we don't have to think of this whole thing of a living lab with 10 to 20 experimenting sites with lighthouses, all the stakeholders 5 times. No, we can start. I would like to be one of these experimental sites. Then you might think of who are the different stakeholders I would like to get in the boat. I call 5, 10, 15 people, and Kosovo is small. We know each other, right? We get them together and said, how about? I mean, we can have, I'm sure, you know, within 1 week, we have 10 experimental sites with people together. We have different stakeholders from academia, from some businesses, some consultants together to get, we can do this here, definitely. Yeah, and I think here in that room is already most of it which is needed to get it started. And that would be exciting. Yeah, first in the Western Balkans would be not bad. And here comes what is, I find very, it's thrilling. Just imagine we are 5 living labs, maybe all over the Balkans, down to Greece, Bulgaria, all acting upon the same goals, and we learn from each other. We share our knowledge. That means we accelerate learning. The speed is getting faster and faster as we learn how to do it, and the impact is accelerating as this spreads. And when it comes to having enough food in 2050, I think this is really something we have to learn. It's not nice to have, frankly speaking. I think we have no choice to think in this direction. So how about these objectives, how to do it? So one of the projects can be designed around a common objective. One of the objectives could be soil literacy within society. And all the experimental sites go around that. And then there's different land use types. There's arable land, there's grassland, there's forests, there's whatever. But it's all about soil literacy. And there's different contexts in which this happens. Another approach could be, it's all about soil literacy, and it's all about arable lands. Could also be, to make it very simple. I mean, it's complex enough. But, and just thinking about the same land use types. Whatever objective there is, and there were, I think, 8 or 10 objectives, but we all do it on grasslands. Yeah, so that the whole living lab has one common goal and one common ground on which to learn together. So that means when setting up a living lab, it is the biogeographic region we have to think about mainly. And what is the biogeographic region? We can handle, we can manage, we can get people together, we can build relationships and communication channels and so on. What should not happen is something like very distant, yeah, where it is not manageable anymore and where mutual benefit cannot be managed. Yeah. So to summarize, for a living lab, frankly speaking, I think Kosovo is just great for it. We are a small country. We are very diverse. We have lands that are available, that are maybe not used, so we can do experiments. We have human resources. We have many well-trained students from university. We have very innovative farmers. Yeah, we have institutions who support, and why not giving it a try? Yeah. Now I have the honor to call Ixona back to stage.
It's not our map, we are just representing it.
Fully agree.
We will make sure to follow up with organizers.
Yeah, it's a bit complicated, it seems. Okay, I will try to go quite fast because we promised a coffee break and then we will finish until 12. But coffee break, it means hopefully there are no smokers, but 5 minutes break maybe just for it. We can have it now and then continue, or I will just inform you that if you want further information about, for example, for opportunities as a nation, you can see that there are 100 number is in the nation name. So they have created fact sheets about how to apply, mostly information on living labs and agricultural land use, what are the opportunities, and forestry land use. So you can, this is the link of the nation, so you can then check the information. Shortly, types of the living labs are into per land, are separated per land use. So we have, depending on the land use, we have 4 different types of the living labs that are supposed to be established as part of the nations. It's agricultural living labs, forestry, industrial, and urbans. For those also, they have been creating 2 fact sheets, one in urban land use and the industrial land use. So you can have more information on the situation in Europe, how it is, how it remains, and etc. if needed. Carlsen mentioned that there are many stakeholders involved in this application, and one of shortly explaining would be public sector and government, citizens and civil society, industry, and the academy. We will have the PPP partnership in a meaning of public-private people partnership. There is a quadruple helix, this one that it was represented. Yeah. The partners here can be elaborated in these kind of categories, depending on the land use or depending on your application, if you want to be living labs per agriculture or per industry, then of course also the participants and the stakeholders per application might vary, because we have different users of industry land and then different users on the agriculture. In agriculture, urban, forestry, and industrial, there are those kind of stakeholders mentioned, farmers, cooperative, agribusinesses. In the urban areas, I would like to emphasize more the building construction, civil engineers and architects, GIS specialists and urban planners. As you can see, they are quite different from the other, I might say, objectives or the other participants in the industry living labs, hopefully. Then we have the government and public sector. If the government and public sector as a stakeholder want to be involved in agriculture, then we have local, regional, and national authorities, where it can be ministry or agencies or institutions, etc. Then depending on the urban, then we have also municipalities and urban director that are in charge for urban planning and etc. At the forestry, the same category of institutions, but they are different agencies under covering also the governmental organizations or public authorities. And in the industry, then we have also environmental protection agencies and special planners. The academy can be also involved in both 4 options of the land of living labs, in agriculture as a researcher, or in urban living labs as universities or also researchers, but from the social perspective, at the forestry from the science perspective, and in industry, it can be also from different perspective, from advisory or on the research impacts on environmental topics or several issues, and how to engage civil society, citizens, communities, and the users. It might be differentiated in the agriculture NGOs that are working on let's say, on soil, directly healthy soil, or raising awareness, or other group of stakeholders as citizens, consumer, locals, in several, let's say in 4 of different living labs, there are precisely differentiated here. So you might just, while you are preparing your application, you might just see, okay, I want to include also, I want to be working on, let's say, agriculture. And then you can understand whom to be asked or co-operated with or co-designed with as a part of the stakeholder list. This is how it can look like when you have identified all the stakeholders, your topic, your many interactions, and etc. But the project is 54 months. So we are talking for long time projects. And it has to be, this one is just the idea how it will be, because in the next one we can then share the examples. The objectives of the proposal of the founded living lab in Mediterranean region, it was to prevent and to improve olive trees. So there are specific objectives of the call where the living lab is included. It's 4th, 5th, 8th, and the first objective. There's challenges where erosion, pollution, and desertification. So the permanent crops were grapes, wines, olive trees, and fruit crops. And the Living Lab 3, it includes 4 of the objectives, and there are 11 actors, including academia, institutions, farmers, and everything else that is direct or indirect related to. So the solutions is to have soil health solutions as practices on organic matter, integration compost, and hydrofilters, biochar hydrofilters. Yes, I don't see. Sorry, I thought that it might be. The other option is IR grasslands. It includes much more actors or stakeholders. As you can see, there are 14. The main land use is agriculture, arable lands, permanent grasslands. Those are the topics that this living lab has been included. And the solution, it includes the practices on high quality inputs. Yes, bovine and biochar slurry. Those are unknown name for me as an introduction here. But in ideally process, this is how it will look like one living lab after you have kind of identified and you have in mind collaboration and everything in ready to be applying for. So they have 10 additional partners and the project lasts for 48 months because the whole idea of the living labs, it requires much cooperation, and we can continue then discussing after a short break that we will have. Okay, this is maybe, I know it's your slide, but just shortly to see where there are living labs around Europe. It was mentioned that we do not have anyone around the Western Balkans, and the closest one are in Bulgaria, Romania, Croatia, and Italy. But those are the living labs, and the lighthouses are, yes, as you can see this case, this is a combination of 2. It started as a lighthouse and then it converted into the living lab. We will discuss for the call after the break because I need attention and then you need to be more focused on numbers here. Okay, 5, maybe 10 minutes break just for thanks. There are 2 options of the call. The first is soil health, where this is about living labs. And then the next one is about living lighthouses, I would say, the urban call for healthy soils. There should be 4 to 5 living labs for each application located in at least 3 different member states or associated countries. That means 1 living lab can be multiplied in Kosovo, Bulgaria, or Austria. At least it means 3 different member states and or associated countries. But it doesn't have to be 3. It can be also 4, 5, 6, depending on your idea. It's a single stage submission. The Horizon guys also know, but also who has applied for funding and tenders portal at the EU. It is the same as any Horizon call that goes by the single stage. And the very good news is that is 100% funding. Those are the thematic focus, I would say, of the 2024 call. The soil health has the objective of co-creating solution for soil health in the living labs. There are allocated 36 million euros on funding, and there are expected to be 3 applications funded. You know, expected, it doesn't mean that they must be only 3, but depending on the money allocation and other resource and other factors, they might be even more, but it's at least expected to be 3, or it might be 2. It doesn't, it's not, I mean, quite specific on this one, except for the urban Horizon, that there is only 1 expected to be funded, only 1 application, because there are available less fund, 12 million funds. As you can see, the living labs are a bit huge interventions on soil health, and they can, even though they can be integrating different stakeholders, they can also include the objectives of the call. It is supposed to be at least 2 of the objectives, but I would recommend, even though there is no direct, let's say, connection, it is at some point, but just it would be much options. It will have much options of funding if many objectives are integrated somehow on your application. For example, if you have roof planning, let's say, or any plans that you are willing to do, or farming or anything, it can also prevent the erosion. It is good to be aligned with the objectives of the call, even though your main goal is to, for example, to conserve the soil in 1 specific area. And yes, the process, it is how we started in the beginning. It starts with challenges, how to link our health soil challenges and with the mission objectives. Then there is a need of initiating and joining and expanding your idea with other counterparts to establish a bit of consortium and then to submit an application. From now until the October, there is a time that you can use it quite perfectly. Also, yesterday and today, there are matching activities happening. One of this is also around happening, I mean, around the nation, I would say. So further after the time for engagement that we will have, we will also explain options if you want individually to be trained or coached or further support. They will be provided the links how you can reach directly to the nations, because there might be some questions that even our partner or ICK or several institutions might not understand it. And you can reach out to them in any of the cases. Carlsen, should we go with Slido? Okay, just, yeah. Sorry, I'm just needing, okay. So should I put here, or you can? Sorry.
I would just like to show something from a previous slide before we continue, if that is okay. Because when we now talk about how to apply for a call, this one example we have seen here gives us an idea also of what we could do. This was the example of the Atlantic region in Ireland, and they had a focus on two things. The one is soil literacy in society, and the second is regenerating soil structure. And they go quite well together when we think about it. And so what they had here, the challenges they have is water retention, fertilizer use, compaction, soil structure, what this is, I have no idea, and biodiversity. This could be something also applicable to us. And this whole thing, by the way, was led by university. So all different kinds of actors, I will not go into that. We talked about this, but this is interesting, what they did here. Practices to include high quality inputs such as biochar. Anybody knows biochar? Of course, biochar is you create by transforming all kinds of organic material into some kind of coal, biochar, with under the absence of oxygen. That means the process doesn't release any CO2. That's the one benefit. But the second benefit is this biochar has a huge capacity to store water and to give nutrients to plants. And it is like a soil enhancer. So for all those technical entrepreneurs, to have solutions to turn organic material into biochar is really something exciting. Maybe that's something for this fraction here. Yeah. And then there is one word, so just at the end, you know, along with crop diversification and cover. And this cover has a huge impact because cover means soil should never be left without cover. Never be left without cover means we stop tilling the ground, which means the farmer says, we have always tilled the ground. But we have never destroyed so much ground in so short time by doing tilling. Yeah, so this cover is something that requires a complete new mindset of agriculture. And this is what they are training to do there. So here we have the opportunity just with this example to see what impact we can create in agriculture when we start at some of the sites here in Kosovo to experiment with biochar, with bovine slurry. I think this is from cows, the manure, right? And crop diversification, crop rotation, and cover. One last word to cover. This is also something which could become really interesting for Kosovo farmers, because when you don't till the ground, you don't need big machines. If you don't need big machines, less CO2 emissions, less investment. You need very light machines for sowing, light machines for harvesting. It has a huge impact on many different SDGs and also on the profitability of farms. Yeah. Sorry, I just had to go in that. And now we go, we have prepared something which we want to share with you. Please take your phones, make sure you have internet. Now we want to test what you have understood. No. Can you scan with your phone this code? Then you will be led. Is it open? Yes, and now, wait a second. We will go to Paul 1. One. Now you can see on your phone, and it would be interesting to see your feedback. Which land use type is most relevant to be looked at here in Kosovo? There's the... Agriculture, forestry and nature, agriculture. Yeah, you see? So everybody had a chance? So I guess we have a clear winner, but we also have some others we might want to look at. Yeah. Next, which of the challenges mentioned in the soil mission objectives can you recognize in your own region or in this country? Maximum 3. Very good. So everyone had a chance. So reduce soil pollution and enhance restoration. Oh, we are still here on the run, you know. Prevent erosion. How to prevent erosion? Don't till the ground. Yeah. And no, the last one doesn't. Reduce desertification. Improve soil structure.
Use the global so okay.
So I think we also have some clear winners here. Next. Now, can you give examples of soil challenges that you have seen or experienced in your own region? Maybe just a few thoughts, you know, just a word or two.
I wrote that. Okay. I mean, I wrote the erosion, but maybe you can explain if anyone has examples.
Degradation, soil replacement, pollution, erosion.
What they do extract. No, yes, but
Yeah.
the process.
Excavation.
Excavation.
Soil replacement. Right.
I think we have still.
And transforming a natural part to an industrial part, yes. Land use planning, conversion of agricultural land, non-controllable usage of pesticides. It already gives quite some ideas on what could be thought of at the beginning of such a project, you know. Last but not least, we have one more. Present positive aspects of the Living Lab concept. Prevent erosion, sustainability, sustainability, networking and common cause, very important.
Knowledge sharing,
Reduce
science.
the usage of pesticides and herbicides.
hands-on experience and showcasing results of interventions. Yes.
All right. And sharing experience. You know, we really already have a good common understanding of what the potential is of this call. Thank you so much. For this, innovation, I killed it. Is somebody still in work?
No.
Sorry for that.
And now is it okay?
Yes. Now we would like to enter into conversation with you around different questions. Is that the one you mean?
No, just asked if we are opening the discussion and yeah.
We have 3 different questions where we would like just to have a conversation about to get a better understanding also on the practical part. The first thing is, what is the overall condition in our national and regional soil health? This is the main question. And together with it, as we speak, which of the challenges mentioned in the soil mission objectives can you recognize in your own region or country? Can you give examples of soil challenges that you have seen or experienced in your own region? Yeah, so, but let's start with this, and when thoughts develop, we can also touch the other question. So please, the floor is yours. What is the overall condition of our national or regional soil health?
Thank you. Depends by the region. So, our soil, we can categorize it in different condition. So we have good soils or healthy soils, we say. But if we say, now I can make some mistake if I speak with the percentage, but it's about 15%, it's in a good condition. 15. 1 5. It's not more. Mostly it's have a, how to say, in medium condition, but mostly it's in a bad condition. So if we have a data about this. So in the future, when we write the project or when we try to get, we can find exactly the data, and also we can have a reference about this data. So,
what to your understanding is the main cause of having such an alarming number on the table?
Sorry?
What is the main cause? Why the condition is so bad?
Many of they are natural. Some are natural. For example, if you saw our configuration of the country, because I speak in the country level, so we have more than 50%. It's the mountain. So in this case, is the geology of soil. It's rock, bedrock. So this is, but in the flat land, we have a good soils, especially close to the rivers, for example, or in some regions like Rahovici or Swareka. It's not close to rivers, but the soil geology, it's the more better, and the soil are better.
Are there some regions where you would say there the soil is in particular good?
Yeah.
And maybe other regions where you would say there the soil is in particular dead?
Not good, yeah, or dead. It's not dead, but it's not good. There are different aspects, because in some places it's they play a role also the chemistry of soils. For example, in some parts the pH, it's a limiting factor, or in some parts is the contamination, which discussed before. For example, in northern part of Kosovo, the mining have an impact in the soil quality. So It's okay.
Do shta unë po flas shqip, nuk e di se bazuar në përvojat e zbatimit të dy projekteve, dy vitet e fundit, njëri prej ndotësve kryesor, cilin për shembull po marrim siç e përmendi profesori, është ndotja e tokës pe ujrave të ndotur, pe lumenjeve. Kemi rastin e lumit Graçanka, i cili është njëri prej lum më të ndotur, i cili ka, sidomos ndotja ka për ndotjeve urbane. Masandej kemi bazuar në një projekt tjetër ku ndotja e tokës vjen prej ujrave që shkarkohen prej industrive të ndryshme, e cila është shumë e lartë. Ndotja e tokës prej, më thonë, si industrive ushqimore, po edhe industrive tjera. Më thonë, mos flasë masandej për ndotjen e tokës prej përdorimit të madh të pesticideve, nga e pa kontrolluar prodhimtaria intenzive. Do më thonë, prodhimtaria bujqësore intenzive në cilën si rezultati tokave të fragmentuar, tash po insistojnë që me marë maksimumin e prodhimit duke përdor plera kimike, përdorimin e pesticideve të tjerë.
Uncontrolled.
Thank you so much. So we have water, we have industry,
Edhe
we have
ndotjet
application of
urbane,
pesticides.
ndotja urbane, sidomos në regionin e Prishtinës, ne bazuar në një projekt që kemi zbatuar prej skatit, financuar prej skatit në menaxhimin e integruar të ujrave, ka dalë që ndotja urbane është njëra prej ndotjeve shumë të mëdha në këtë region që po e ndot tokën, masandej kemi prodhimtari të shëndetshme bujqësore, ushqime të shëndetshme.
Ndotja urbane ujra apo çushim? Po mendoj ndotjen urbane të përgjithshme.
Jo, dëgjoni, ujrat e zeza shkarkohen në ujra dhe me ata ujra ujit e toka.
Po që ata thjesht me thonë ndotjen urbane në ujra.
Po, definitivisht dhe ndikimi I ujitjes së tokave prej.
Okay. Yeah, just for the information also for participants, it was mentioned from Eminem that main polluters are driven human polluters, including waters polluted, especially a case in Gračanica, also Gračanka River that it's polluting Pristina's area. And pesticides use, and the other, it was also degradation, fertilizers. Yes, and they have done a research on waters in Pristina, as I understood, and they have verified that rivers are polluting also the soil of around the areas where they are flowing, I would say.
So, yeah, this is perfect. The next set of questions is about the living lab concept itself. Yeah, identify example of existing living labs. I guess we don't have so much examples around here. Yeah, but what are the positive aspects of a living lab when we think of having one here in our region? We had one of the questions before, but we had a few feedbacks on Slido. Maybe to have a bit of a conversation also about it. What are the positive aspects? How could it help? And how could also all the stakeholders in a collaborative mode can benefit from it?
Engaging the different stakeholders for the main mission. This is very important. I think the first step, it's engaging all stakeholders which are contributing positive or negative in the soil.
Okay.
I heard from the previous speakers also for the classified, let's say unhealthy soil or healthy soil, because as you see, our investments here in Kosovo are being done just to the land by not classifying them. So maybe policymakers, what they could do is for the unhealthy classified soil lands, to call the investors to invest in these places, rather than investing on healthy soil lands, let's say. So this could be maybe let's say an objective that could save the healthy soil for future.
kind of recovering, revitalization of the land.
Okay, then I will think that this will be a great opportunity how to connect the academia with other stakeholders. Because as we have heard today in other sessions that somehow we are focused in the policy, but you cannot do anything without research and with pilot projects. So this means that involving of farmers somehow they to improve their production and to maintain the soil health is very important. So in this case, let's see myself, I will be focused to the farmers, how they can improve their practices, how they can use crop rotation, how they can use fertilizers, how they can use pesticides. So this means that they should understand how to prevent the soil, and including the research part, which is very common abroad, not really here, because we are meeting here today and we have so many research working in this direction, but many of stakeholders in Kosovo, they don't have data. So we just have heard today in morning that, oh, it is pollution. Yes, but we should know where is, who is causing, and how we should improve it. So this means that including research somehow will give the opportunity to the farmers how to improve, not only to them, even to the policy makers, but not otherwise. Not policy makers to prepare very good papers and strategies, but in the field it's happening something else. And I think it will change the way of the approach, how we to start from the bottom, and then we can see a good results. Otherwise, we can have very good papers, very good strategies, but in fact, in practice, will happen something else. And I think this living lab somehow sounds to me is a very good opportunity.
Thank you. Yes, please.
Okay, I can add some things because if we see, po flas shqip në shta më mirë dhe më mirë sirën. Ne kemi ligjin shumë mirë për tokën bujqësore, dhe tokat klasifikohen diku në 8 kategori, që është rrëpsisht ndaluar në kategorinë nëse është kategorinë nga 4 e poshtë, të përdoret për ndonjë qëllim tjetër, për bujqësi, mirë për në realitet për në ndodhë neve kundërta. Është na këtu e kemi atë gabimin që në fakt nuk e shikojmë implementimin e ligjit edhe implementimin e gjërave.
The same. In any kind of the aspects by the laws are quite perfect, but they need to be enforced and implemented. It was one, sorry, just for the rest, it was one mentioned that by the law, Kosovo soil is categorized in 8 categories, and it shouldn't be used up from the 4th and down. It shouldn't be used for agriculture, but unfortunately it is. Just to...
I would like to share the good practice, how we can have in the future the healthy soil, because our company is working in the organic production, and I already have 15 farmers, women farmers working in with the organic production, which is the main thing that is contributing to the health soil. Having including the all best practices, how they can treat the soil production and until processing. And I would like really to expand this vision and these good practices to the other.
Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you. Also, from experience, farmers tend to do practices without knowing that it's an environment indicated or it has related to environment impact. What we have seen, for example, women around Kosovo, when they are preparing ayvar, the leftovers, they are composting them, but they don't use the word composting because they don't know the process. So the leftovers are put in one place, and they say usually we wait for it until it becomes nutrient and then we turn it back to the land as a nutritions. Also, while if you are preparing any application in Kosovo, if you are targeting farmers, it would much be also willing for Kosovo's society, agriculture society, to be well informed with best practices and maybe to lower the literacy, just to be more on understanding levels, because sometimes we are overwhelming farmers with a lot of practices and a lot of information and a lot of challenges that they actually have, and it might be a bit of burden on their sides. So involvement and integration of stakeholders, it is one of the mandatory perspectives that it's also requested of the Living Lab. And I would also mention ownership. It should be what we are maybe facing as Kosovo, it's the lack of ownership. Implementing, in this case, by the laws and by the laws, it's weak because they don't have the ownership. Someone else develops the law and someone else practices unfortunately not right practices. That is the lack of the ownership and the lack of participation in general. We can cut the chase.
Yes. The last set of questions is now really how can we get engaged in this process to initiate a Living Lab here in our region. So can we, based on today's session, establish or join a Living Lab? Question one. And then if we feel not, only if, what are possible solutions to the individual obstacles? And then it's also like identify possibilities within and across the individual groups. I mean, already here is a group in a certain sense, you know, but there's more outside, right? Yeah. And how could we make arrangements, you know, to get things started? Stage is yours.
Maybe I can show them a bit and then we will answer to the questions at the end. Okay. Just don't forget the questions. Okay. We discussed and how the process may be shortly. The whole idea of today could be included in these short topics. First, we need to identify the health challenges with counterparts, with our co-applicants, with our states that we are willing to apply with. And to understand the objectives of the mission, we are not expecting to be understood from one training, but it needs more time, as per any call that it requires a lot of attention, and to kind of do a plan for in line with the Soil Deal of Europe, watch the events as one of this or join as much as possible, and then prep soil need assessment. It is one of the papers that you should consult if the application is in line with those, let's say, objectives. This is how it looks somehow, but it doesn't have to be this much complicated, bless you. Doesn't have to be this much complicated in our case. So I'm not going there, but this is just representatives, the regions, and as you can see, the names of the representations or consortium parts that they are part of it, that it might be requiring a knowledge or experience or anything. This is also one of the examples the assessment, how it is done in Slovenia. You can have the more information on the process. We will not stop until here. And one of the challenges, how you can, this is identified actually just for your use while you're writing an application. You can check if, for example, where we are reaching, what are the main challenges. If you want to be oriented in contamination, then you can see which countries on the part are more identified with the contamination sites. And then you can see the challenge if it is very important or important, and the research if it is needed or not. Depending on the structure of this paragraph, then you can be more oriented on let's say, your objectives and your orientation on where are you going to kind of to be project oriented, or Living Labs will be in the part of north or central or west, or around, if you want to multiply or to include many of the others. I'm not touching it, I don't know. Anyway, This QR code, it's the same one, and it has very much useful information for you. So you can also use this application for identifying of challenges and multi-actor approach, let's say different interested parties that they have given the interest on this call. You can watch and learn and find your mentor. In this case, it's ICK, you have already somehow found, and be advised for the phases in general. This is the part where you want to initiate. You have already the idea, you know the challenge, you have kind of identified the topic where you want to be oriented, you have identified the states in somehow the regions where you want to work with. And now you need more stakeholders and more methodology of how to apply. And then in order to have an application that is competitive, you need to reach out to Living Labs collaborators to join the platforms, to send, because the platform is also for interaction, to get familiar, to showcase your products, to promote and etc., and to watch the events. But also there is a much more needed that during this consortium, you need also to have in mind that sometimes you need to agree with not agreeing, let's say. But of course, the most important part, depending on the cause that you are referring, is the application and the sharing knowledge in order to give a bit of insights and to have the application submitted and won, hopefully. While you are drafting your application, please, it's very important to be in collaboration, stakeholders to have been involved in the process and to have the identified role in the process of co-creation, if one was providing data or science research, and how that data and science research will be also used while the project will be implemented. It is very important to know the status of soil challenges, if it is degradation or erosion or anything that we want, and what are the impacts. There are national frequently asked questions. You have also tools in the application, and you should also always, of course, because the call is under the horizon, Europe working program, you should submit the call in line with the objectives of the call. And this is the web page where you can have the information. So far, 43 countries, member states and associated states have been informed, engaged, and promoted. 43 events similar to this, and the previous one that we had. There are matchmaking online and long engagements in events ongoing. There are information and training, open calls. There is a support online that you can have directly for any questions while you're having your doubts, while you are applications. There are also information on how to set up and how to enlarge or how to develop your living lab, how to train and support in language, in national language. In some states they have been giving also the events on training and engaging and facilitating of the creation of partnerships. This is the whole support that nations is given. It means promoting, but also you will have someone on the process supporting you while you are making or while you are developing your applications. You have for individual coaching sessions, you can also arrange individual coaching session. If you want to have more clarifications or anything, there is a link here. There are matchmaking sessions and opportunities. One of them is today happening, and yesterday it was. So you can match yourself, your company with similar potential collaborators if you haven't identified yet. There are also webinars on capacity building and the thematic events based on your idea, or if you want to have more information on erosion, then this is the information where it was or where it will be, or pollution, or some similar, I would say, topics. This is the matchmaking opportunities link about, is it a tool that it can also facilitate the consortium? The funding, yes, this is for today's and yesterday's. And then on the 18th of June, there will be opportunity of the Living Labs capacity building webinars. Mostly they are on online area, as you can see from today's, you can participate in online. And forestry, landfills and Balkans, this is on 20th of June. I would suggest you to take part on as many as possible, because from the questions and from the thematics, you can find also their experts or interested counterparts, interested collaborators, universities, and different associations that actually are missing in Kosovo and sharing experience. And there are also providing other webinars. If you want to have direct contacts with Biosense Institute that is in charge for Balkan region, you can have the email of Maria Vagic, and then any interaction with the nations is done by the web application or other platforms like LinkedIn and Twitter and etc. And I think that's it. Thank you. So, Marina.
Okay, thank you. We will share all the presentations today, and we would appreciate if you could fill in also a feedback survey that we will send you. If you have question, or in case you need to contact us again for any idea with the project, we as ICK are also interested to work on this. So if you have any ideas, we can come up together and apply. Maybe you never know. Okay, thank you so much, and have a.
The question. The answer to the question.
The questions.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah, I will show the question.
No, I mean, this is important. This is the main question for us now, to look at all of us here who got tickled, you know, that there is something we should explore. I mean, first of all, this website, nations.eu, we need to look at, and there's all the resources, all the help we can take. And, but maybe we can just have one or two thoughts, you know, before we leave off. What are possible solutions to individual obstacles? I mean, we go home now, what I do now, is there any obstacle? Is there some solutions? Is there anything else besides the website we could do? Which one is which? This one?
No. Yeah, and we established a living resource.
Yeah. Okay. If not, yes.
No, but I was saying the time frame is short.
Uh-huh.
Now it's holiday time, and until October it's quite challenging.
Yeah, but do you see yourself as co-applicant? Maybe they have already established. So you have
myself.
At least, yes.
But what I learned living in Kosovo for 5 years, that many good things can happen overnight. So till October, there is still time. and we know each other, you know, and we can call each other, invite each other for a coffee. Maybe ICK can facilitate if they like to, you know, to get together just to share ideas and thoughts, you know, and then take it from there. Nothing must be formal. Yeah. Yes, please.
So one question. Thank you very much for this presentation. It was very useful and had a lot of information. The question is, what is our role here? You know, are we gathering here to propose or to team up, or and what is the role of ICK, your role, because that was not introduced. Are you looking for partners? Are you going to apply for this, or what?
Yeah, that was a nice question. I mean, I can only say that we are facilitating the process since it is about the soil. ICK consider that we are well informed about the soil challenges and applications like this, so we are informing. The ICK is implementing partner somehow, right? Yes. But not applying. Implementing partner on the nations, just promoting these nations. Today, we are here, our kind of duty, it's to represent the call. Hopefully, we can establish a network and consortium and then apply. This is in our goodwill. Me and Carlsen discussed about it. It requires a lot of stakeholders, it is true, but we can give it a try with other already established let's say, calls or living labs that they are under the construction. I would love to be part of it. You can consider ICK as a host, as a, let's say, as one of the institutions that can gather to us. We can also gather together without any formal or anything. I will share with you the information, so my personal email, and then we can check. But it would be ideally amazing to have after this events to have a proposal from Kosovo. We cannot force that, it's on your will. If there is an interest, if there is a possibility for us to gather together and to apply, that would be amazing. So no agenda on that. Hopefully we will have something, if you want to add.
I mean, you asked for your role. I think our role for everyone here and beyond is to start loving soil. Yeah, and to have a different perspective on soil personally. And regarding this project, when you go home and you feel I would like to involve or not, and to contact ICK or, you know, and to get started on it or to consult the website and then to see how it can move on. But this is very individual. Today is informative.
So please.